Hey everyone, we are back again with another tutorial as promised. Today we are going to be learning how to attach box braids. I will be teaching you 5 different ways to do that. And basically the only skill that you'll need for this is you will need to know how to braid. So let's get started. So for this first method, which I believe is the most simplest, you're going to go ahead and grab your strand of hair. You want to hold it in the middle, so the ends should be even on both sides. This is going to give you 2 strands. And as you already know, you need 3 strands to form a braid. So you're going to go ahead, you're going to place it over your client's natural hair. Then you want to grab your client's natural hair and you basically just start braiding. Use those 3 strands to form a braid like you normally would. You will be using that same method that we taught in the Dutch braid tutorial, which is basically you're always going to be going underneath that middle piece. I think what the hardest part with box braids is the gripping. So you want to make sure you get a nice grip, but you don't want to grip too tight to where you're causing discomfort to your client or you're ripping your client's hair out. So once you get a good grip, you basically just start braiding like you normally would. And you go ahead and braid that down all the way to the end. So that's it for the first method. Pretty straightforward. And this is probably going to be the easiest of all the methods that we do today. So for the second method, this one is a little bit harder, but this is my favorite method. And this is probably the method that I choose to use with most of my clients. You're basically going to grab your strand of hair again. And this time you have your 2 sides. This time you're going to split one of the sides into 2. So you're going to make 2 out of the one side. And then on the other side, you're going to keep it whole as one piece. So see, you want to split it evenly. So you have 2 even pieces. And then on the other side, you have 1 whole piece. You just want to make sure you keep a firm grip in the middle of the hair. And then I usually use one of my fingers to keep the 2 pieces separated. So now you're going to go ahead with your client's natural hair. You're going to split that into 2 pieces as well. And those 2 pieces that you have on one end, you're going to go ahead and match those pieces up with your client's natural hair. I usually just set them right on top and then make sure you get your grip right before you start braiding. So go ahead, place it over the hair, get your fingers nice and right to get a good grip. And then you're just going to start braiding like you normally would. And just remember, try to get a pretty tight grip. That's always going to be the hardest part. That just basically is going to take a lot of practice. So that's it for the second method. It's the one that I use the most and is the easiest for me. So let's go ahead and move on to the third method. So for this next method, I find it to be a hard method to use. I don't use this method at all just because I feel like the hair tends to slip. But some people like it, and actually a lot of stylists use this method. So you're going to take your strand of hair, you're going to split it into 2 pieces. You're going to want one piece to be quite smaller than the other. You're going to have, so this is your main piece, and then there's your little side piece. You're going to take that little side piece, or second piece, I should say, and you're going to loop it around the other piece. And that's going to give you 3 strands. As you can see, you got 1, 2, and then that other part makes the third. So I'm going to show you how to grip with your hands overhand. It is a bit harder, and it does take a lot of skill to be able to grip like this. And those other 2 methods that I taught you, you can also grip this way once you get the hang of it. So this is the most difficult part. So you're gonna grab, if I can do this properly, in between your 2 fingers, you're gonna grab one of the strands. You're gonna grab the strand on the left, if that makes sense. And with the client's hair, you're not splitting it in any kind of way. You're just basically gripping the client's hair along with the synthetic hair. And somehow you just grip it all together and you just start braiding, and it all just kind of fits in together and it works. Again, this one is really hard to explain, but a lot of stylists use this method, and it does give a good grip, but it's just really hard to do. And I find that piece that you loop around tends to slip, but that's just me. So if this works for you, it works. But yeah, you basically just start gripping the client's hair and you just start braiding like you normally would. So that's it for the third method. Again, it's a pretty popular method. It gives a great hold. It's just harder to do. So let's move on to the fourth method, which I find to be pretty easy. If you have a hard time with gripping, then this method would be good for you. So we're going to do the rubber band method. You're basically going to wrap the box with a rubber band. Then you're going to go ahead and grab your strand of hair. You're going to grab it in the middle. And just like on that first method, you're just going to wrap it around your client's hair and you're just going to start braiding. The hardest part with this method is trying to conceal the rubber band underneath it. But if you use enough hair, it should be quite easy to cover the rubber band. So you just wrap it around and you just start braiding like you normally would all the way down to the end. So that's it for the fourth method. Let's go ahead and move on to the fifth and final method. This too is going to be a rubber band method. I find this one pretty easy as well. So you're going to go ahead, take the rubber band, wrap it around your client's natural hair. Try to get it as tight as possible without it being too tight. And my only recommendation with this method is when you take the braids out to cut the rubber bands out, so that you have as little breakage as possible. So we're going to use this handy dandy tool, which if you don't already know is a crochet hook. You place the crochet hook underneath the rubber band all the way through. And then that little hook on the end, you're going to take your hair and you're going to hook it on that little hook. And then you should see a little latch that you flip down to keep the hair on the hook so that it doesn't fall off, and gently pull it through. Be very careful with this when you're pulling the hair through. It shouldn't hurt your client. And if it does, you're not doing it correctly. So once you pull your synthetic hair through, you're going to loop it through the two strands through the loop and pull it so that it's nice and tight. And then you're going to separate the two pieces. So you have two pieces. And then you, again, use your client's natural hair as the third piece. And you just start braiding all the way down to the end. If you would like to try the crochet method, you can purchase the crochet hook if you don't already have one from our online store at thebraidboss.com. So that's it for our fifth and final method. As you can see, you can pretty much achieve the same look by using different methods. Some are easy, some are harder, but find which one that works best for you. Keep practicing, and please let us know if you have any questions. We're always happy to help. Thanks for tuning in. Please stay tuned for our next tutorial. We will be showing you how to attach some crochet braids. So we'll see you next time. Thank you.